Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. Bruce Lee was the world's coolest individual in the 1970s. Children all throughout the world were in awe of his abilities when his films were released. He resembled a real-life superhero. Imagine this. Bruce Lee is about an inch away from another individual. The second man then jumps backward and lands in a chair as he thrusts his fist forward. The one-in punch was the name given to this. What did he do? Being exceptionally strong wasn't the point. It was about making unique use of his entire physique. His legs would thrust quickly and forcefully at first. His hips would then turn. At last, he would thrust his arm forward. In less than a second, all of this occurred. Jessica Rose, a scientist, researched this maneuver. She learnt that Bruce Lee made this little punch incredibly potent by using his strongest muscles, such as those in his legs. The majority of people can hardly complete 10 normal push-ups. Bruce Lee was able to perform 200 consecutive push-ups without stopping, all with just 2 fingers. Even now, this record remains in the Guinness Book of World Records. Despite numerous attempts, no one has managed to defeat it. In 1 minute, an Iranian man performed 74 2-finger push-ups, which is still far less than Bruce Lee's record. Bruce Lee was also capable of performing 400 push-ups with only one hand. These weren't only ostentatious actions, they contributed to his incredible fighting skills. You might question whether Bruce Lee was a skilled actor for motion pictures or if he really engaged in combat in real life. He did in fact fight, but the majority of his bouts weren't captured on camera. Bruce Lee sparring with his trainees in 1967 is captured on one of our videos. You can see him moving like a cat in this video. He consistently hits his target, while dodging every attack. He is shrewd and composed, often anticipating his opponent's moves before they happen. Bruce Lee and Wong Jack Man, another martial artist, engaged in a covert altercation in 1964. This fight was only witnessed by 13 people, including Linda, Bruce Lee's wife. Wong Jackson weighed around the same as Bruce Lee, but he was nearly as tall. There were no referee, regulations, or safety equipment during the battle. Linda claims that Bruce Lee swiftly prevailed in the fight. Wong Jack Man attempted to strike Bruce Lee, but Bruce was quicker and delivered a more forceful blow. Wong even attempted to flee, but Bruce caught him and prevailed. Bruce Lee understood after this bout that he needed to put in even more training to reach his full fighting potential. Bruce Lee's use of nunchucks, those 2 sticks joined by a chain, is well known. Here's a humorous secret though. He initially detested them. Bruce was often advised to try nunchucks in his films by his pal Dan Inosanto. Bruce finally gave them a try, even though he believed they were worthless rubbish, but Dan persisted. After only 3 months, Bruce Lee was swinging nunchucks as if he had done it all his life. He made use of them in his 1971 film Fist of Fury. All of a sudden, everyone believed that nunchucks were the most awesome weapon ever. Bruce Lee can even be seen playing ping pong with nunchucks rather than a paddle in a video. He used this bizarre tool to defeat a professional ping pong player. Bruce Lee detailed a 1960 altercation with Yoichi Nakachi, a Japanese martial artist, in his journal. Bruce Lee's claim that Chinese kung fu was superior to Japanese karate was the catalyst. In a fit of rage, Nakachi challenged Bruce to a brawl. Bruce initially refused since he didn't want any problems at school, but after some persistent prodding, Bruce consented to fight. There weren't many people around when they met at a YMCA gym. The altercation lasted just 11 seconds. Blood was all over the place after Bruce Lee kicked Nakachi in the nose. You could hardly see Nakachi's eyes because of how bloated his face was. Bruce Lee briefly feared that he might have murdered the man. Bruce Lee instructed everyone not to discuss the fight, despite the fact that he won so handily. He wished to shield the emotions of the other combatants. On one occasion, Bruce Lee kicked a 45-kilogram punching bag so forcefully that it shattered. Additionally, this is listed in the Guinness Book of World Records. He is also reported to have kicked a 135-kilogram bag 5 meters into the air. Consider the strength required to kick something that heavy thus high. The camera crew had a major issue when Bruce Lee created the Green Hornet television program in 1966. Bruce Lee moved too quickly for the cameras to clearly record his movements. Everything appeared hazy. His battle scenes had to be repeatedly filmed. In order for people to truly see what Bruce Lee was doing on TV, he had to slow down his movements. Later, they employed specialized cameras that could capture faster motions in his films, such as Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee could fight at full speed in this manner, and it would still appear clear on film. What made Bruce Lee so exceptional? He exercised daily and did so in a strenuous manner. He would run 2 to 6 miles on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. On the other days, he would spend 10 miles riding his bike and then 20 minutes jumping rope. Bruce Lee was incredibly adaptable as well. He was short, but he had the ability to kick very tall people in the head. He achieved this by practicing high kicks and stretching daily. He practiced martial arts for longer than he did anything else. He would occasionally spar with other fighters, smash heavy bags, do shadow boxing and punch. He would practice kicking on other days. Although he didn't lift weights to appear bodybuilder like Bruce Lee did, he aimed to develop the precise fighting muscles he required. Ping pong with nunchucks was among Bruce Lee's most impressive feats. He struck the ball back and forth with his nunchucks rather than a standard paddle. He actually prevailed in his match against a professional ping pong player. This demonstrates his incredible reflexes and mastery of the nunchucks. Bruce Lee possessed more than just strength and speed. He knew how to fight well. He studied a wide variety of martial arts styles rather than just one. After that, he combined them to create Jeet Kune, his unique fighting style. He combined the best elements of street fighting, boxing, karate, and kung fu. Because opponents never knew what he would do next, he was practically impossible to beat. Prior to Bruce Lee, the majority of action films featured plodding, straightforward battles. Everything was altered by Bruce Lee. His battles were thrilling, quick, and realistic looking. He brought kung fu films to a global audience. Many claim that he was involved in the development of mixed martial arts, or MMA. According to well-known TV host Joe Rogan, Bruce Lee was a pioneer. He introduced the world to a brand new kind of combat that had never been witnessed before. No one has ever surpassed Bruce Lee's 2-finger push-up record as of yet. No one has ever kicked a heavy bag as forcefully or moved as quickly as he did in his films. Despite his early death, Bruce Lee is still discussed today because of how amazing he was. He demonstrated that one can accomplish seemingly impossible feats with sufficient practice and commitment. A lot of his movements were so spectacular that nobody would think they were real if they weren't captured on camera. However, we have the recordings and the movies to demonstrate that Bruce Lee was one of the greatest martial artists of all time. Bruce Lee was not always well known. Although he was raised in Hong Kong, he was born in San Francisco. He was constantly getting into problems as a child and got into a lot of street fights. His parents sent him to study Wing Chun Kung Fu under the tutelage of Ip Man because they were concerned about him. Bruce Lee initially learnt how to fight effectively here. His parents sent him back to America when he was 18 because he was still getting into too many problems in Hong Kong. He eventually settled in Seattle, where he earned money by teaching martial arts and working in restaurants. Being a skilled combatant was not all that Bruce Lee aimed for. He desired to comprehend the act of fighting. He studied philosophy extensively and gave careful consideration to what it meant to be genuinely skillful. He developed his own combat technique known as Jeet Kune, or the way of the intercepting fist. His concept was straightforward. Use the strategy that suits each circumstance the best. Don't limit yourself to just one combat style. Be like water, as Bruce Lee would say. Water can be strong like a roaring wave, or soft like a flowing brook. It adopts the form of the container in which it is placed. He believed that warfare ought to be done that way, always evolving and adapting. Bruce Lee had an amazing daily schedule. Every morning at 5 o'clock, he would get up and go for a run. He did more than jog. He would run as quickly as he could, then slow down before running once more. He would perform his stretching exercises after his run. The splits that most gymnasts couldn't perform, he could. Despite being barely 5'7", he was able to kick higher than his own head. The actual training then began. He would strike a wooden dummy, a unique kung fu training aid. His knuckles would bleed for hours, but he persisted. His goal was to have rock-hard hands. Bruce Lee also performed activities that were unfamiliar to most people. He would extend his arms to his sides and grasp large weights. For several seconds, he was able to support a 75-pound weight directly out of his body. Try carrying a 5-pound weight in that manner. You'll realize how challenging it is. Bruce Lee was extremely watchful of his diet. He consumed unique protein smoothies prepared with milk, vitamins, and raw eggs. He ate a lot of lean meat and veggies, but abstained from junk food altogether. Additionally, he consumed supplements and vitamins that were unknown to most people at the time. Like a scientist, he researched nutrition in an effort to increase his body's strength and speed. Despite weighing barely 140 pounds, Bruce Lee was entirely muscle. He had virtually no body fat. His muscles were so well defined that other bodybuilders were astounded. Bruce Lee has nearly superhuman reflexes. He was able to use chopsticks to grab rice grains that were tossed at him. Before individuals could clench their fists, he could snatch coins from their hands. He went to a school demonstration, according to a well-known account. A master of martial arts attempted to brag by unexpectedly punching Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee grabbed the man's fist and held it inches from his face before anyone could blink. According to his students, he was able to predict attacks before they materialized. He seemed to be able to read people's thoughts and predict their next move. For Bruce Lee, breaking into the film industry wasn't simple. Hollywood didn't want Asian actors playing lead roles in the 1960s and 1970s. Asians were typically assigned minor, inconsequential tasks. Bruce Lee tried out for a lot of parts, but was frequently turned down. He was informed by some directors that his accent was too strong. Others claimed that an Asian hero wouldn't be accepted by American audiences. Bruce Lee was really irritated by this. He was aware that many of the performers who landed the roles he desired lacked his talent. However, he never abandoned his dream. Bruce Lee made sure that everyone took notice of him when he eventually got his moment in The Green Hornet. Despite his intended role as the sidekick, he stole every scene in which he appeared. Children all around America began imitating his actions. Bruce Lee inspired them to learn kung fu. Chinese fighting techniques were taught in martial arts schools, which unexpectedly gained popularity. Bruce Lee demonstrated that an Asian performer might achieve success in the United States. He provided opportunities for other Asian actors. The most well-known films directed by Bruce Lee were produced in Hong Kong rather than Hollywood. He became the biggest movie star in Asia with Fist of Fury, The Way of the Dragon, and Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee engaged in combat in a hall of mirrors in Enter the Dragon. Even now, this sequence is still imitated in films. In The Way of the Dragon's End, the Roman Colosseum scenario, he also faced Chuck Norris. People believed that the performers were genuinely attempting to harm one another since these conflicts were so genuine. Although Bruce Lee might have easily defeated his co-stars in a real fight, he was always careful not to seriously injure them. In 1973, Bruce Lee passed away, unexpectedly at the age of 32. He had recently finished Enter the Dragon, and was at the pinnacle of his glory. Although brain swelling was listed as the official explanation, many people have various ideas about what actually transpired. He was poisoned, according to some. Some people think he overworked himself. Everyone acknowledges that the world lost a great deal with Bruce Lee's passing. He was capable of so much more, and will never be aware of the incredible things he could have accomplished had he lived longer. Even now, over half a century after his passing, individuals continue to research Bruce Lee's fighting style. In order to learn from his style, mixed martial arts fighters watch his films. Characters based on Bruce Lee can still be seen in video games, films, and television series. People all over the world can quickly recognize him because to his iconic yellow tracksuit and nunchucks. Bruce Lee demonstrated that brains, technique, and speed are more important than stature. He demonstrated that everyone can achieve greatness if they put in enough effort and never give up on their goals.